Imagine you wake up tomorrow in a world where everyone looks the same. Same language, same clothes, same food, same neighborhoods. No countries, no religions, no sports teams, no politics, no family names. It sounds peaceful until something strange begins to happen. Within days, people start separating again. Tiny groups appear out of nowhere. Arguments begin. Loyalty forms. Outsiders become suspicious. Somehow, the human brain finds a reason to divide itself. The question is, why would a species that depends on cooperation be so determined to split itself apart? You don't notice it at first. You're walking through an open landscape nearly 50,000 years ago. No cities, no roads, no maps, just endless wilderness. Somewhere beyond the trees, another group of humans might be watching you. You can't see them,
but you know they're there. And suddenly one question matters more than anything else. Are they your people or someone else's? That sounds like a simple question. It wasn't. It was often the difference between living another day or disappearing forever. Our ancestors didn't have police. They didn't have governments. They didn't even have permanent homes. The only thing standing between them and the unknown was each other. And that raises a strange mystery. If humans survived by working together, why didn't everyone simply become one enormous tribe? Why did people keep breaking apart, keep forming smaller groups, keep drawing invisible lines? Because here's the strange part. The more you look at human history, the less those lines seem to make sense. Some groups fought over rivers, others over hunting grounds, others over language, others over beliefs, and sometimes over almost nothing. Imagine two groups camping beside the same valley. They eat the same food, wear the same animal skins, use the same stone tools, speak almost the same language. Yet one paints a single red stripe across the face, the other paints two. That tiny difference can suddenly become everything. It feels ridiculous until you realize your brain still does something remarkably similar today. You may think you've escaped tribal thinking,
But your brain doesn't necessarily agree. We'll come back to that, because before tribes became symbols, they were survival machines, and survival has a habit of leaving fingerprints on the mind. Think about what life actually looked like. Every sunrise began with uncertainty. Food wasn't waiting on shelves. Water wasn't guaranteed. Predators weren't documentaries on television. They were real. One mistake could end everything. So imagine trying to survive completely alone. You'd have to hunt, stay awake, watch for danger, find water, protect yourself while sleeping, care for injuries, raise children, all by yourself. Almost impossible. Now imagine 10 people working together. Someone watches while others sleep, someone tracks animals, someone gathers plants, someone carries children, someone remembers where clean water was found months ago. Suddenly, survival becomes possible. Not easy, just possible. Here's the twist. Cooperation creates incredible strength, but it also creates a new problem. Who can you trust?
That question followed every shared meal, every hunting trip, every campfire, every dangerous journey. Trust the wrong person and they might steal food, abandon you during a hunt, or reveal your camp to rivals. So humans needed something invisible, a shortcut, a fast way to recognize who belonged, who shared your risks, who would stand beside you when everything went wrong. That's where tribes became more than families. They became identities. But identities create another mystery. Once people feel connected inside a group, what happens to everyone outside it? And that's where the story takes a surprising turn. Imagine someone from another camp approaching yours. You don't know their intentions. Maybe they're friendly. Maybe they're starving. Maybe they're scouting. Maybe 20 more people are hiding behind the trees. You can't know. Waiting for perfect evidence might be noble. It might also get everyone killed. So the brain starts making decisions before facts arrive, fast decisions, sometimes unfair ones. Because evolution rarely rewards perfect fairness. It rewards surviving uncertainty. Oddly enough, that ancient shortcut never disappeared. It simply found new costumes. Think about something almost comical.
Imagine flipping a coin. Heads, you're on Team River. Tails, you're on Team Mountain. Nothing changes. You don't know anyone. The names mean absolutely nothing. Now imagine spending an afternoon playing games against the other team. How long before you start wanting your side to win? Not because it matters, because it somehow starts feeling personal. Sounds silly? Psychologists discovered something deeply unsettling. People don't need centuries of history to form tribes. Sometimes they barely need a reason at all. We'll see just how little in a moment, and once you hear it, you may never look at ordinary group behavior the same way again. Imagine walking into a room full of strangers. Someone tells you you prefer painting A, another person prefers painting B. That's it. No personality test, no shared experiences, no family connection, just a random preference. Surely nobody would care, right? Except something unexpected happens. People begin favoring members of their own group, giving them more rewards, trusting them slightly more, even though everyone knows the groups are practically meaningless. How can something so small influence human behavior? Because your brain isn't asking, is this group important? It's quietly asking something much older. Could these people become my allies? That's a completely different question. And suddenly, a random label becomes the beginning of a tribe. It sounds almost absurd, until you notice how often modern life works exactly this way. School colors, favorite phone brands, sports teams, music communities, gaming platforms, neighborhoods, even the way people pronounce certain words. Tiny signals, tiny badges, tiny identities. Individually, they seem harmless. Together, they satisfy something ancient. But here's the mystery. If tribal instincts helped humans survive, why do sometimes people reject perfectly good ideas simply because they came from the wrong group? That answer begins with something your brain values even more than being right: belonging. And belonging can change the way reality itself feels, sometimes without you realizing it.
Imagine standing around a campfire after sunset. Everyone in your group believes the safest hunting route lies east. You secretly think west looks bad. Do you speak up? Maybe. But what if disagreeing makes everyone stop trusting you? What if nobody shares food tomorrow? What if you're left behind during migration? Suddenly, being correct becomes less important than staying included. For our ancestors, exclusion wasn't embarrassing. It could be fatal. That fear became deeply wired into the human mind. Even today, most people hate being left out far more than they'd expect. Not because they're weak, because somewhere inside the brain, ancient survival systems are still paying attention. And those systems don't care whether the tribe is 20 hunters or a group chat with 12 people. The feeling is strangely familiar. But then, something unexpected happened in human history. Our tribes started growing. Bigger villages, bigger kingdoms, bigger civilizations. Millions of people began cooperating without even knowing each other's names. How is that possible? At first glance, it shouldn't have worked at all. Yet somehow, humans discovered a way to make strangers feel like family.
And the trick they used changed civilization forever. People who had never met started trusting one another. Not completely, but enough to build something impossible. Imagine arriving in a village hundreds of miles from home. Nobody recognizes your face. Nobody knows your family. Yet someone offers you shelter because you speak the same language. Another shares food because you follow the same customs. Another points you toward the safest road because you wear a familiar symbol. A generation earlier, that might never have happened. So what changed? The tribe stopped being only the people you personally knew. It became an idea, a story, a shared identity. Humans discovered something extraordinary. If enough people believe the same story, they can cooperate on a scale no other animal can. A flag, a kingdom, a religion, a culture, a nation. None of these can be touched like a rock or a tree, yet they influence billions of lives. That almost feels like magic, except it's happening inside the human mind.
And here's the funny part. If you somehow convinced a wolf that another wolf lived 1,000 miles away, it probably wouldn't care. Humans do. We can feel connected to complete strangers we'll never meet. That's one of our greatest strengths, and occasionally, one of our greatest weaknesses. Because the larger the tribe becomes, the more powerful the feeling of us, which quietly creates another word, them. It's such a small word, 4 letters, yet history has been shaped by it again and again. Think about how quickly people use it. They don't understand. They always do that. They're different. It's almost automatic. Why? Because your brain loves shortcuts. The world contains billions of individuals. Learning every person's intentions would take forever. Grouping people saves time. Sometimes that's useful. Sometimes it's spectacularly wrong. And the brain doesn't always know the difference. Here's a simple thought experiment.
Imagine someone hands you 2 folders. One says people like me, the other says everyone else. Which folder do you think your brain checks first? Probably the first one. Not because you're selfish, because familiarity has always felt safer than uncertainty. The problem is, modern life is full of people who are unfamiliar, but not dangerous. Our instincts evolved much faster than our civilizations did. That mismatch creates strange situations. A person wearing a different uniform, speaking with a different accent, supporting another sports team, using another operating system. Yes, even phones somehow became tribes. Imagine explaining that to an ancient hunter. So you refuse to buy that shiny rectangle because another group prefers it? They'd probably stare at you for a long moment, then slowly back away. Yet millions of people genuinely defend products, celebrities, and online communities as though their survival depends on them. Objectively, it doesn't. Emotionally,
Sometimes it feels like it does. And that's because tribal instincts don't disappear. They simply attach themselves to new things. But here's where the mystery becomes even stranger. If tribes can form around almost anything, can they also disappear? History suggests yes, but rarely in the way you'd expect. Picture two neighboring tribes forced to survive a brutal winter. Separately, neither has enough food, neither has enough hunters, neither can defend itself from predators. Working together suddenly becomes more valuable than staying apart. Something fascinating happens. Old rivalries begin fading. Shared goals create new identities. Yesterday's enemies slowly become today's allies. The line between us and them quietly moves. The people didn't suddenly become different, the story did. Psychologists have seen similar patterns again and again. Give competing groups a problem they can only solve together, and hostility often begins to shrink. Not overnight, not perfectly, but noticeably.
Because the human brain has another ancient instinct, cooperation. That's the surprising twist. We often talk about tribalism as though it's a flaw, but tribalism itself isn't the villain. It's a tool, like fire. Fire can cook food or burn forests. A tribe can protect children or fuel conflict. The instincts stay the same. The outcome depends on where it's pointed. And once you realize that, modern society starts looking very different. The internet didn't invent tribes, it gave them microphones. Sports didn't invent tribes, they gave them jerseys. Politics didn't invent tribes, they gave them speeches. Technology didn't rewrite human nature, it amplified it. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. Look around almost anywhere. A concert, a classroom, a workplace, a neighborhood. People naturally search for common ground, a shared joke, a familiar hobby, the same hometown, the same language, the same memories. Tiny threads.
Woven together until strangers begin feeling like teammates. That's one of humanity's greatest superpowers. No other species creates alliances through stories the way we do, and those stories built everything from villages to skyscrapers. But they also remind us of something unsettling. If identities can be created, they can also be changed. The boundaries we defend so fiercely often aren't carved into nature. They're drawn by human minds, then passed from one generation to the next until they feel permanent. Imagine meeting yourself from 50,000 years ago. You'd probably struggle to communicate. Your lives would look unimaginably different. Yet one thing would instantly feel familiar. Both of you would search for your people. Because beneath every invention, every empire, every language, every city, the same ancient question still echoes. Who stands with me? That question helped frightened families survive freezing nights. It helped explorers cross continents. It helped civilizations rise from scattered camps. And it still quietly shapes the choices we make every single day. So why do humans naturally form tribes? Not because we're born looking for enemies, but because we're born looking for allies. The tragedy is that our minds sometimes confuse those two. The remarkable part
Is that we're also capable of expanding the meaning of our people. Again and again and again. Maybe that's the real story of humanity. Not that we build tribes, but that throughout history, we've kept discovering that the circle can always become a little bigger. The next time you instantly feel that someone is one of us or one of them, pause for just a second, because that feeling may have begun around a campfire tens of thousands of years ago, long before either of you ever existed. And perhaps the greatest survival skill humans ever evolved wasn't simply finding a tribe, it was learning that tomorrow, someone outside the circle might become part of it.